Welcome back to another exciting serger tip clip. I've recently had several requests for showing how to use the serger successfully to insert a zipper. And there are two different ways that you can do this. Actually, there are a bunch of different ways, but two different modes that you can use. Today, I'm going to show you how to insert the zipper using a cover stitch. And in another tip clip, I'll show you how to use it with an overlock stitch. That said, I want to talk just a little bit about using a serger for zipper insertion. 90% of the time on garments, I would probably use my sewing machine to insert a zipper. Sewing machines and sergers are good companions in the sewing room, and each one does different things very, very well. But you can use your serger very successfully to insert a zipper on tote bags, little carry-all bags like this, home deck items, and on some garments as well. But as I said before, I think I would use my sewing machine for most garment zipper insertions. So today we're going to do the triple cover stitch insertion, and we'll get started on that, and I'll show you some of my favorite things to make it successful. Before we go to the machine, I'd like to show you how to secure the zipper to the fabric with wash away wonder tape. And wash away wonder tape is one of my favorite little notions. I've gone through, I couldn't even tell you how many rolls of it over time. It's great for putting in zippers, trims, all sorts of things in garments, bags, home deck, whatever you're doing. If you want a good way to secure it, it's a double-sided, very sticky tape. And if you're putting it in a garment, you don't have to worry about it staying there. It would come out with the first laundering. It just dissolves and disappears. And it's perfect for this technique as well. So I am going to just cut a length of it and put it on my zipper tape. And I just have a little sample size of my fabric. And I don't really have to put it the full length. As long as it covers where the fabric is, that's all I need. And I just put it along the edge of the zipper. And the nice thing about the wash away wonder tape is that you can also reposition. So if you don't like where your fabric is, you can just lift it and move it. So I've got it down. I give it a nice firm finger press, just like that. And then I take off the little paper edge, which sometimes can be the trickiest part of the whole thing, especially when you're doing it in front of a class or on camera. There, it came off. So that's what it looks like. It's just a little piece of adhesive. And then what I do is I can line up the raw edge of my bag fabric, give that a nice firm finger press. And if you wanted to press your fabric with a fold ahead of time, you certainly can. And sometimes it's advisable if the fabric is a little bit stubborn for folding. But this is the way I do this. And then when I'm ready to do the second side, I would do the exact same process. So now we're ready to go to the machine and do the stitching. I'm at my machine and I'm set up. Let me give you my different settings. I have my cover chain stitch foot on, and you can see that that is nice and narrow, and I can get in very close to the zipper teeth. I have 3 needles in. My needles are threaded with serger cone thread, just regular serger cone thread. And in my chain looper, I have red pearl crown rayon, and I actually have a little thread net over it because rayon thread has a tendency to relax on the spool and fall down, and sometimes it can get hung up under the spool, and you can end up with it kind of coming to a screeching halt as you're stitching along. My stitch length is set to just a tick below 3, so that I determined in my testing. So I'm ready to start, and I'm going to let my presser foot just ride along the edge of the teeth as I get onto the fabric. Anytime you start with a cover or chain stitch, you always have to start with your needle in the fabric. So I have it on the zipper tape alone, and then I'll come up onto my fabric. And you'll notice that I'm going to have the edge of my foot be my guide, and that's going to ride along the fold of the fabric, just so that my stitching is nice and straight. So here we go. And now that I'm at the end, I'm just going to keep stitching right off the zipper tape and pivot it out of my way, chain off. If your machine doesn't allow you to chain off, that's fine too, but you can just stitch off onto the zipper tape, trim it, and you really have a beautiful application on your zipper, just like that. Now, on the other side, I'm going to show you how to make it look decorative. And what we're going to do is stitch with the fabric right side face down so that the chain looper thread, which is the decorative Pearl Crown rayon, will show on the front side. The triple line of straight stitching is nice and secure. It's very, very strong. But with that decorative thread, look how pretty the inside of that is. Now, of course, you'll be the only one who'll see it on the inside of your little bag, but that's okay. You'll know it's there. But then I'm going to show you how to get this stitch on the outside, on the other side, as a decorative element. So hang on just a second, and I'll get the fabric ready, and we'll be all set to go. We've done the first side, and now I want to show you how to use this triple cover stitch decoratively. So I did the same process that you saw at the table, where I peeled off the paper and finger pressed on the Wonder Tape. But now with our bag, we're in a little bit of a tube. So to make it easy to get to, I'm just going to open up my zipper. And the other thing is, I made sure that the edges of my fabric were even with each other, so that when I go to stitch the side seams, they're not askew. So I'm going to open that up and just turn it inside out, so that all you're seeing is the back of the zipper tape. And I am going to line up my fabric and my zipper tape again. So I'm starting with fabric under the needles. Just work it right in there, just like this. And I think I will use the edge of the zipper, and this time I'm going to use the edge of the zipper tape, the left side of the zipper tape, and have the left edge of the presser foot ride along that as my guide, my visual guide. So I'll put my presser foot down and begin stitching. Okay, I've done this, and again, it was wrong side up and right side face down, so that that cover stitch or the chain looper thread would show on the right side of the fabric. So you can see it gives you a really pretty zipper application for doing virtually the exact same thing that you did on the first side, where you just see the straight stitching. Just pop in a pretty decorative thread in your chain looper, or use multiple threads with a thread palette, and we can give you the link for that. And you can have a beautiful zipper application. So either way that you like works perfectly fine. And again, this is the triple cover stitch, but you could do it with a wide cover stitch, or if you didn't have that capability, do it with a narrow cover stitch. Thanks for joining me today. And if you have questions or suggestions for a future tip clip, please be sure to email me. My email address is gail@gailpatrice.com. I'd love to hear from you. And I have a two-part series in Threads magazine. This is issue 194, and it covers the ruffling foot and lace applicator foot. That's the December-January 2018 issue. And this is issue number 195, and this covers the elastic foot and the blind hem foot. I think you'll get a lot of good tips and tricks out of this, so be sure to check it out. Thanks for joining me today, and see you again soon. into the overlock zipper insertion to see how to finish off this cute little bag. It's so quick and easy. You'll make a million of them, and they make great gifts too.